I don't know what it is, but the DA put out some, or didn't really put out, so somehow some DA numbers found their way into the press, which suggested that at a local government level, support for the ANC was extremely low, let's say roughly below 30% in metropolitan areas of Gauteng. Now, if you're not in SA, Gauteng is the kind of economic heartland. It's the sort of banking sector and center of the country. It's very urban. Sort of concrete Los Angeles is something Americans that visit here, so it reminds them of. And 20 years ago, the African National Congress had very strong majorities in Gauteng, about 60% plus of the vote. And these polls suggest that those numbers might now have been halved or even more than that. Now, the DA polling operation is extremely expert. The data is very, very solid. There's been a silly dispute in the South African press about the quality of the data, which shouldn't have arisen at all, because some DA people just said, this isn't necessarily a forecast of an election that's still likely more than a year away. It's very tentative early numbers with a fairly large margin of error. And I think that's caused some people to be dismissive of the numbers in their entirety, which is absolutely wrong. Because regardless of margin of error and regardless of the months out from South Africa's next local government elections, the overall finding that ANC support in the urban heartland of the country is down, let's say 50% over 20 years. That finding, I think, is absolutely rock solid.
Yes, and just if the ANC is to fall as low as the DA has them on, what does that mean for Gauteng and for the future governance of SA?
Yeah, well, that's a big question, is where does this... I think the next year or early 2027, South Africa will have local government elections. So those are elections to elect municipal authorities and the like all around the country. And they're different from national level elections, which elect the national leadership and the leadership of the key provinces. Now, last year, South Africa had a national election, and the same African National Congress that once seen its support peak at almost 70% of the vote came in at just 40%. If it now loses considerable ground in a province like Gauteng, and it's also set to lose a considerable amount of ground in the East Coast, and the East Coast municipal districts and a major city of Durban. It's already lost the Western Cape province, which is kind of the rival of Gauteng, governed outright by the opposition, the Democratic Alliance. All that's really left for them at that point is basically dusty scrublands. But the significant majority of GDP in the country will, in very many respects, be outside of the hands of the party of Mr. Mandela. Then factor into that South Africa's current leader, Cyril Ramaphosa, leader of the African National Congress, is a very much more popular figure. His popularity has fallen sharply, but a very much more popular figure than anyone who might take over his party. And he commands still some respect and confidence, which many of his peers would not. If at the same time, he will likely retire at the end of 2027. So if the African National Congress loses the urban centers of the country, loses that really important East Coast, it's already lost the southern parts of the country. It's got just the scrublands left. And it then loses its last leader capable of generating much by way of national, international respect. Then, that's the question many of us are wrestling with. We're not really prepared to answer it confidently at this stage. But one of the outcomes, if you sit in our meetings and hear what we talk about, one of the outcomes is just how low can they go? Could they, within a matter of just a few years, be at a point where they have 20% of the national vote or even less? And in that case, where to for South Africa? Who replaces them, or does no one replace that share of the vote?